Can you introduce yourself and tell us what we're seeing here?
Yep, my name is Andrew Ong with American Structure Point. We're just looking at a little bit of the Yoctangee Park right now. This is going to be the existing conditions of the park, and then these 4 slides over here are going to be what we're proposing to do. Some of the improvements include the removal of this Trish-Sheller Road. We had a lot of feedback from the city that was being used as a cut through. So to help park safety, we're getting rid of that road and making Enderlin become a 2-way street with parking to help facilitate a little bit more passive movement through the park as well as parking. And then we're also going to be adding an open air pavilion, which you can't see here, but over here, and then the World Heritage site. So there's going to be 2 buildings kind of side to side with the park between the 2. And then with that, we're also including the amphitheater that's going to be closer to Water Street with splash pad and a skate park and a pump track. And there's going to be a lot more parking kind of right over here where there's previously dead space, just an asphalt pavement. But now we're going to make
just gravel.
Yeah, right, just gravel. So we're making it a little more intent, adding some parking in that area, and then we're also going to have a lot of the amenities down here for more active recreation.
Now, how do you balance out cutting out Trish-Sheller, but then that would put a lot of traffic here along the park and make a one-way road 2 ways?
Yep. So when we looked at the traffic, it seemed to be that this was mostly being used as kind of a cut through between Water Street and Mill Street. So the people going through were not coming to the park and really kind of going pretty quick. So to avoid that, we've actually done some roadway improvements on that side, which is going to have some roundabouts on the outer edges of the park to hopefully have the flow of traffic on the outside be a little smoother. So number 1, people don't even want to use that as a cut through, right? With also the removal of that road, the intent really is that if you're coming into the park, you're either trying to find parking in the park or you're leaving your parking spot to the park. So we're going to be adding some, crosswalks and some visibility to allow this to be a little more kind of safe for pedestrians. But the goal here really is to not think of it as a part of the road network, but more of like a parking for the park. So you wouldn't go, 40 down a parking lot, would you? It's kind of the same thought here, is things are going to be built with more intent, so people are either going to be finding a spot or leaving a spot.
Okay. Since we've got an opening here, can you show the renderings?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, so here's actually where we're going to be in right now. We're going to do some renovations to the existing Armory building. And then this is going to be the open air pavilion at the World Heritage sites, where this is also going to be kind of that.
That's why when we were parked, when we grabbed this.
Oh, yep, you're good, Mark.
The arcade.
That's why when we originally...
Arcade, the open...
Yeah, like open air cut through. And then we'll have some park improvements with just, maneuverability. And then here, and then down here, you can kind of see the amphitheater with the skate park, the pump track, and then some new parking. We're also going to take the existing skate park, which is located at those pickleball courts, convert that into the pickleball courts, and have a more like in-ground skate park as opposed to one that has above-ground ramps.
Well, the kids fought hard to get what they have now.
When we came through this, we kind of wanted to see what the community wanted, and those were kind of the main parts, and we kind of took that and worked around that.
Any more to see over here? We've got a conversation there, but we're going to speak with him when he's around.
Oh yeah, he's great, yeah. I'm Andrew Ong, and then that's Mark Underwood. He's the landscape architect of American Structure Point, who helped us all the way through, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mark Underwood, Director of Landscape Architecture at American Structure Point. So the plans here for Yoctangee Park, showing here is more the overall plan. So you can see Main Street, or Water Street is down here. Yoctangee Parkway is off to the side. The Scioto River is over here. This is where the levee is. Just to orient where you're at, existing Armory is in the center. The idea was, again, to try and recreate kind of the core or the heart of the park around the Armory, and then with the Visitor Center and with the Farmers Pavilion, kind of really creating this core. So this really becomes the annex for the Armory. And so the other thing was too, that's why Tony's here to address some of the parking issues, to basically cut off some of the cut-through traffic through the park. And so they will reconfigure the parking all the way around so you can still get around the park, and this will become 2-way, but you will no longer be able to connect that portion. So again, it's really in relationship to the downtown. That's why the roundabout is here, creating a whole new welcoming mat to the park. again, because all the different pieces between UNESCO, the Visitor Center, the different pieces, this really ideally will become more of the core where you can come and find out about who Chillicothe is. Hopefully eventually then, if once they get this established, get more of a shuttle service that can take you out to Hopewell and the other UNESCO sites. That has some rubber on the road that needs to occur before that happens. But the idea was to try and respect, and that's kind of what this plan shows, the different uses. So you can kind of see this is where the pool is, existing high school, Babe Ruth ball field is, practice field, the high school is over here, Y's over here. But you can see that there was a big investment in a lot of the trees, and they're still planting a lot of trees. So again, being a landscape architect, we really love the aesthetic beauty that's been established. In the original plan, we kind of had proposed putting some different pieces up in here, like the pavilion itself. But the problem with that is then when you start introducing the pavilion in there, you start looking at the utility structures, the infrastructure that has to go along with it, the parking. And so you were going to have to cut down a lot of big trees. Also, with the investment of all the different shelters and the passive nature of this, that's why we really like the fact that we're creating more of the core. So that's why we moved it back down, because, and this is a memorial ball field, so we know that that needs to be addressed, but that's why we moved it more into the open spot. Again, trying to respect the different pieces. The playground stays, tennis court stays, pickleball courts, basically we're converting the skate park into pickleball courts. That's why it's getting moved down here. Again, all the different pieces and components were all part of plans that were previously had public buy-in. So they had buy-in from the comp plans or other plans. So the amphitheater, skate park, pump track, pickleball courts, splash pad, those were all pieces that had public buy-in, and as part of the application, because it had to move so fast, that's why we leaned hard on those. So everything else from the shelters that you see around, the idea is to, again, having appropriate parking, commensurate with kind of more of where the core is, but then spread the parking throughout so that you can still kind of get to the shelters and still experience the park without actually cutting through. So where you're in this core of where the passive and all the trees are, there's not a bunch of traffic cutting through. So having cut-throughs.
Now, Mulberry Street does still continue into and through the park past the pump house?
It will go all the way through.
All right.
And so this is, it's a little dicey right now. We need to redo the graphic to represent that.
I know you guys are moving rapidly, and the plans are multi-generational.
Yep.
You don't want to mesh.
Yep, exactly. So if you go look at Tony's, I think that one actually shows it a little bit better. But yes, the idea is the same thing that we're doing here is what will occur here. And there's a point at which budget can only go so far as well. So that's why we're trying to be respectful as well as of the existing improvements that we don't have to touch. Let's not touch them. So the idea is, again, to congregate as much of the parking, so when you come to the park, you don't cut through the park, you park at the park and enjoy it. So then when you kind of look at the different components, this is more of the enlargement of the core itself. So again, large drop off, again, respecting what's already there with the armory, but you can see there's a bus there, so that again, as we get different groups, hopefully, and as this grows over time, this does become kind of the core and the starting point where you come to learn about Chillicothe, come to learn about, again, the UNESCO sites, and then hopefully go out and visit them. Again, that has time that will need to occur to make that happen.
But I'm in charge.
So then...
this is...
This is more or less the bird's eye view, as if we looked over through this way onto that plan. So we're looking kind of over near the levee. So this is the old... Yep. And so, again, you can kind of see tennis courts, skate park, which are going to get converted to pickleball court, playground. All these relationships, again, part of it was what we learned from in the previous plans, but part of it has great relationship as well. Just because when a parent comes here to play pickleball court, your kid can be playing at the playground. When they're playing tennis, same thing. Same thing with the splash pad, because we've had people say, well, that should be over with the pool, which there's an argument there. But the nice thing about the splash pad then is when you're having concerts in the park over the summer, you have something for the kids can do. Parent can hang out over here, watch their kids, and then still be able to participate in whatever's going on down here. The other thing too is this portion is made special as well. So you can see there's kind of a turnaround. This could be shut off basically when those type of events are happening, so people can traverse back and forth because the public restrooms would be up in that portion of the pavilion. So again, trying to think through all the different pieces and the relationships and creating strong relationships that make sense for use.
And the panel here are some...
So then these are what we call precedent images of, again, they're not precisely what it is, but just to show, you know, again, the different layouts of different pickleball courts, what the splash pad could potentially be. And when we say splash pad, it's really more of an in-ground fountain versus a splash pad. I don't know how familiar you are with like playground splash pads, where they have more vertical elements. Okay. So this is more of a true fountain, so it just is in-ground, and so then when it goes away, it could also be used as a pavement space for something else as well. And then these are just different images to show, again, different amphitheaters throughout the region, throughout the area, to give you a sampling of what it could be.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
No, it's been a great night. Had a lot of different comments, and appreciate all the input that we've gotten. So it's been fun.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.